Good morning friends. I understand that you all must have gone through our earlier video on understanding the FCRA Amendment Bill 2020 released on 22nd September. There are a lot of confusions with respect to the amendments due to the buzz created around and reactions coming from all over the country, which have led to various miscommunications, misconceptions and fear in the mind of genuine NGOs. So we at NGO Enabler have thought to bring before you the clarity on the situation, the road ahead and way forward as to what will be the new normal for the FCRA registered organizations post amendments. First, let me convey it very clearly that the purpose of our video is not to get into any critical analysis of the amendments and pros and cons for charitable organizations. We understand certain amendments might have created uncertainties in the mind of many organizations and have a detrimental impact too, especially the smaller communities. But now that the bill has already been passed and cleared as it is by both the houses of the parliament, our focus is on how to handhold the NGOs and help them navigate smoothly through the hurdles, if any, created by these amendments. In our opinion, considering that none of these amendments will be relaxed any further, we don't find any reason to keep on resisting and complaining about it. Instead, our focus should be on the road ahead and what should be the methodologies and procedures to continue the good work which most of us are doing selflessly. When we are genuine, why not display and reflect it in our working too, and why to worry? So, before moving directly into the main topic, let me put before you the intention, or you can say the rationale behind the amendments, which can also be found in the section Statement of Objects and Reasons of the bill. So the first and foremost, the main reason for bringing in the bill was huge unutilized funds in the hands of many organizations which are recipient of such foreign contributions. Although the annual inflow of foreign contribution have almost doubled in past 10 years, there are huge lot of unutilized funds still lying there in account. It is well settled that foreign contribution usually comes with a purpose, that is for a specific project or program. But it has been observed that the same was not being utilized towards the purpose for which they are registered and is still lying unutilized. Secondly, you all must have witnessed the number of cancellations of FCRA registrations done by the MHA department over the past few years, which is almost 50%, due to the non-compliances, mainly on account of non-submission of annual returns and improper maintenance of records, which is very basics of compliances required under the Act. Lastly, it was observed that many NGOs were indulged in outright misappropriation and misutilization of foreign contribution funds and might have escaped due to incomplete data on records, as most of them also didn't comply with the basic requirements of filing the returns. So from the intentions listed out by the government, it is evident that the organizations which are genuine, transparent, fully compliant with law and operating with clean intentions for the welfare of the society and social development in the country need not worry. In fact, in our opinion, such strong amendments will only clean the dirt out of the system, and work of genuine organizations will now be appreciated and looked upon with dignity and respect by the society. However, whether any of these amendments are affecting the principle of fundamental rights of any organization is a question. In our opinion, not at all. None of the provisions restricts or violates any of the fundamental rights. All the genuine organizations will still be able to function and operate as they were doing in the past, but maybe with the new methodologies, adopting the global best practices and procedures in order to be in the race. So let's address the concern with each amendment one by one. The concept of second recipient, which has been foregone, thereby debarring the transfer of all foreign funds by way of sub-grant to another FCRA registered organizations. Now you cannot transfer even if the other organization is FCRA registered while working collaboratively for a particular project or program. So this has actually not hampered the functioning of any organization. The projects can still be well executed. In fact, it has stopped certain organizations which only used to retransfer such donations to other FCRA registered organizations, thus getting away from their social responsibility and accountability for actual utilization of funds. The original recipient used to first account it as a donation received from foreign source and then as donation given, and at the end of the project merely used to collect the utilization certificate from the donee agency for compilation of documents. Moreover, since the donee agency would also account it as a donation received, the total foreign inflows would go up as per the database, which was actually not the case. These left scope for gaps and improper accounting from the perspective of the monitoring agency. With the amendment, now the donor cannot get away from his legal responsibility and accountability by merely transferring the money as donation to other FC organization. In fact, it has to now take the ownership of the project. They can still work collaboratively with other FCRA organizations by opening a disbursal account in its own name, and after setting a standard operating procedures and best practices for administration and management of the project, delegate the same to the project coordinators for execution only under its legal ownership and supervision. As regards further capping of administrative expenses is concerned, the genuine organizations need not worry, as they do not have much of such administrative expenses because they are fully committed towards the project. While accounting, they have to ensure and demarcate between the project expenses and the actual administration expenses. Both should not be mixed. Even in income tax, the concept of administrative and establishment expenses for charitable organizations exists, wherein practically certain nature of expenses such as professional fees, travelling and conveyance, rates and taxes are not considered as an application of income. So, the provision of restriction on spending towards administrative expenses was always there in some or the other way. Usually, while accounting and maintaining records for FC purposes, it has been seen that the project administration expenses are considered as organization's own administration expenses, which should now be avoided. For example, traveling done by the project staff towards field visit cannot be considered as administrative in nature merely because the usual nature of the expense is such. The purpose of spending is also important, and this is what actually the intent of the legislation was. Coming to mandatory quoting of Aadhaar by all on governing board, in our opinion, genuine organizations run by genuine individuals holding a valid identity proof need not worry. In the past, it has been observed many times that cases related to fake identity proofs, be it voter ID card, PAN card or even ration card, have come out and the numbers count in lakhs. Even shell companies and dummy directors were found in hundreds and thousands of the companies registered with ROC. Moreover, now most of the benefits and subsidies provided by the government are also linked to the Aadhaar, such as the insurance benefits, the PAN card. So, even if the Aadhaar has been made a sole identification document, what's the worry? In our opinion, quoting of Aadhaar will not at all be a challenge for genuine organizations. In fact, it is a blessing in disguise, as it will ensure wiping off of non-existent office bearers who were there only on records. Mind it, they were only on records. Next in the row is opening of FCRA bank account with the State Bank of India at New Delhi in a specified branch. Now this is very worrying for many organizations. But again, first let me put my words across that we are not here to justify or criticize any move of the government with respect to FCRA amendments. But in the new era of technology, where system-based workings on online and digital platform are replacing the conventional methods and style, where will be the challenge even if our account are miles away in a different city or state? Yes, surely the government has to provide an effective and robust infrastructure and networking system, maybe even artificial intelligence, which will run fast as well as smoothly in order to speed up the foreign transactions. We are of the opinion that the government will soon come up with further and specific directions with clear SOPs on how such bank accounts shall be opened without visiting the capital city, and how the banking system and operations will be carried out without any hassles. Yes, we understand. Initially, there might be challenges in completing the KYC or submission of documents or internet issues, but gradually the operations will become smoother. Again, genuine organizations shall also benefit out of these amendments, as it will also curb certain malpractices which are going on in banks that charges undue high premiums on account of foreign exchange fluctuations. Does any of the NGOs ever went into the details of that? No, but yes, it might have been going on for years. Moreover, it was difficult for the department to accumulate the information from different banks and verify, as some were not even complying with the reporting requirements of MHA, and red flags were not raised wherever required by the banks. We also understand that the NGOs are used to working in a conventional way and style, but change is the only constant. And in the new era of technology, it is very essential that we adapt in order to be in the race. Now, regarding inquiry before renewal of FCRA. Certainly, again, the genuine organizations need not worry much about it, because if they are transparent and proper compliances are in place, the renewal is granted. There might be certain inhibitions regarding the system of Inspector Raj and misreporting to the MHA, but we are of the opinion that truth shall always prevail, and there will be a laid out standards and directions within the ambit of which the inspection has to be done. With everything getting centralized, the monitoring will be stricter, and genuine organizations shall not be harassed unnecessarily by the inspectors going for inspection. There is also a chance of coming up with something like faceless assessment in income tax, where the inquiry might be done online in complete confidence and keeping in mind the social security of the organization. Next, coming to voluntary surrender of FCRA registration. It is a welcome amendment for the organizations who are no longer interested in FC receipts and will now have an opportunity to surrender the registration by requesting the MHA department to do so. However, it will only be a challenge for those organizations who have created a huge asset base out of the foreign funds and want to surrender, because the assets too have to be vested in the competent authority as specified in the Act. But this amendment is not forcing any organization to surrender their registration, even if no activities are being carried out currently, but they are complying with all the requirements of the Act, all the provisions of annual filing, etc., then why to worry? So again, let me tell you, the purpose of this video is not to start or get into any debate regarding whether these amendments are devastating or good for NGOs. Neither we want to justify the stand of the government, nor we want to disagree that there will not be any challenge for the NGOs. Team NGO Enabler only wants that rather than getting into any sort of critical analysis of the amendments, now that it is a law, why not adopt a resolving attitude and constructive mode and think of way forward in line with abiding the amendments. Let your genuineness and transparency take the forefront and come to light. In time to come, we will also share certain global best practices and international standards so that all the NGOs can stand the test of time. Thank you.